Welcome to FleetDesks ERP. In this tutorial, we will show you how to do visa management and let's start. So for visa management, the first thing you can find the visa management option in invoice section, and in almost the last you will find the visa management. And here you have visas and visa installment. Click on visas. So the concept here is that whenever you process any employee's visa, first of all, you have to create his agreement. The benefit of creating an agreement is that when you will be doing your expenses, you can record those expenses as per the exact employee name. For example, here I have this reference employee and this 470, this is the expense recorded on this visa. So the benefit number one is you can record expenses as per employee. Number two, for example, if after 2 years or you want to do the visa again, you can create another contract. So you will be exactly knowing how much you have spent on each agreement. And the other benefit is that if there is any amount that is being collected from the employee in terms of his visa, we can create that contract, we can put it there, and we can collect that amount by installments. For example, in this case, from this employee, we have a employee share amount of 5,000 and already 4,900 has been collected and the remaining amount is 100. And if you have attached any attachment, you can again see that here. So how to do it is once you want to create a contract. So the first thing here is you click on this add button and you will come to this employee visa info page. So this visa agreement reference ID, this is generated automatically. This is the date when you are creating the agreement. And the third option here is the employee. You have to select the employee. So in my case, let's say I will select this employee. And now you have to write here employee share. Again, this is the amount which will be collected from the employee itself. If this amount is zero, you can simply put zero. And if you have a specific amount, let's say 4,400, you can write here. And if there is any information reference quota or something you want to write here, sometimes if you have more than one companies from where you are sponsoring your employees, you can write maybe the company name or you can leave it empty. This is up to you. This 4,400, in how many installments you want to collect this amount. Let's say if in my case, here there is one very important thing is if you are collecting some payment as an advance, for example, out of this 4,400, you are collecting 2,000 as an advance. So this first 2,000, this is also an installment. So you have to include that also. So I will collect from this employee 2,000 in an advance and then 600 on monthly basis. So four installments for that. So total will be five installments. Here you want to write any remarks, any information, you can put that here. If you want to include this employee in the automatic installments every month or you want to do it manually, this is your choice. So it's preferable that you select the is automatic option. And this income account, this is very important. I will tell you the concept behind it. So some companies, they are treating the expenses on the visas coverable loan amounts. So in that case, when you will receive back the amount from installments, this will offset the amount which you booked as a receivable balance. Some companies, they treat the expenses as their direct indirect expense in the business, and the amount which you will collect again, this will be again received as the income account. And if you have, let's say, two entities, three entities, four entities, five entities in your business, then you might want to bifurcate the amount or separate, keep the amount separate for visa collections for each company. For example, in my case, the example that we will choose here, we will see that there is a company who has two trade licenses. So if you are collecting the income amount against Visa receivables one, this amount, you can change the name, of course. You can simply go to the account section and you can create an account here with whatever name you want. You just have to make sure that the nature is income account. So here I have Visa income one. So you can create a second account, a third account, a fourth account, and whatever account you will select here, you can choose that. So choose the appropriate account and after that, save. So in this step, we have just created a contract. So the purpose of contract, once you create a contract, there is no expense booked, there is no income booked, nothing. So whatever we do next, we have to record it. So in this case, let's say we consider that you have already received the first installment from the employee for the amount of 2000. So now I want to record that in as part of his visa agreement. So what you will do, you will go to the view option, and here on the top, you will see the add expense and add installment button. We will see the add installment option. So what is the date of installment? That is today, 3rd March. And the employee name is selected automatically because this installment is for this employee. And the first installment, since we created 4,400 and 5 installments, so the division is coming up to 880. But we can change this amount. I can write this amount as 2,000. This is the installment number one and the income account. So whatever income account that you selected before in the agreement, this will show here automatically. If you want to change it, you can change it. So you can simply select any other account and save. So now I have recorded first installment for this employee. One very important thing here is that once you post any installment, the employee account is going to be deducted for the installment amount. So if you will go there into the employee ledger account, you will see that 2000 has been deducted from his account. The first 2000 which he has already given you by cash or by bank transfer, or you're deducting his from salary, you have to adjust that from his ledger account. So if he pays you cash, you can simply go to Daybook and receive a 2000 dirham cash from that employee itself. So that is part of the ledger account handling, but I was just supposed to give you the concept behind it. Now, the installment account, the part is clear. The other half of the visa management is booking the expenses. So booking the expenses is a little bit more complicated. So I will show you what I mean by that. So if you click on this add expense button, you will see first of all the date of the expense and then expense title, expense type, expense amount, VAT, total, payment account, and remarks. Now I will one by one explain you all one by one what each of these items are. Date is self-explanatory that this is the date of expense. For example, if you did the first step of the visa, that is offer letter typing, and you did that on, let's say, 19th February, you will select here 19th February because this will relate to the payment. This will relate to the actual date of transaction when this amount was deducted from your account. So I will select 19 February, and then the next thing is expense title. As you see here, I have 4 expense titles. If you want to create any more expense title, you can do that by yourself. Go to settings, and here you have the option for visa expenses. So either you can search here also in the search bar, visa expense, add visa expense. So now I have 4 expense types here. I can create one more. I will type the expense head. Let's say in my case, I will say this is another step I will write here. What is the expense amount? The expense amount is total, let's say 200. And again, since when we are doing visas, we are working with multiple departments. We are working with labor department, immigration department. There can be fines, and also insurance is part of visa. So if you want to create multiple expense accounts to put your expenses into different categories, you can do that. So in my case, I will just select one visa expense account, whatever, save. So I have created another expense. Similarly, as per your needs, you have to create all of your visa expenses step by step here so that you will be able to see those visas expenses. You can see those options once you are creating the expenses for the visa. So let's go back here, view, add expense. So the date we selected is 2nd March. The expense title is Toji. Let's say this is the expense that we created. The expense type. Now this is important. Employee or company. So once you agreed on a visa terms with an employee, you say that, okay, this is what we will charge, 4,400, and all of our expense, all of the other expenses, they will be on my head. If there is some expense which you still want to charge to the employee, which is maybe out of the scope of the initial agreement, or maybe this is something which happened after, so in some cases, the employees, they get fined of 200, 300, 400 due to late submissions or any reason. And you want to charge that expense to the employee. Still, you paid for it. It is going out of your bank account, but you have to deduct it. You have to select the employee option. So in this case, this amount, it will be, rather than going into your company's profit and loss expense account, it will go into the employee's general ledger. But if you select it as company, then this expense will be booked as your company's expense. And whatever account we had already selected from the adding expense action in the settings, it will show here, but you can change it, of course, if you want. And then the expense amount. So let's say in my case, the expense amount is 200. There is no VAT, so I can write 0. If there is any VAT amount, you can write it. If there is no VAT amount, just write it as 0. And payment account, from wherever I pay. So if you have some wallets, let's say you have a PRO services company who is offering you those services, you can select their account. If you are paying this payment from a cash or bank account, you can select that. And if there is any other wallet, you can select that wallet from here. So there are a few, these are the few payment options. If you want to attach any proof of this transaction, you can select an attachment and you can put your remarks if there is any, and you can hit the save button and you will be able to see the expense saved here uh, as per whatever you booked. And now the next thing that I will show you is how to record bulk installments. For example, for this employee, we have already recorded an expense of 200. If you have more expenses, you can do that, of course. But if you want to, at the end of month, you have, in my case, I have how many? 66 active agreements, and almost all of them, they have a remaining balance. So if I want to run installments, so instead of booking one installment for each employee, which will be, of course, very tedious and tiresome, what we have an option is bulk installments. So if to access that, go to the settings and the menu and click on Visa installments here. And first thing you will notice here is the list of every installment which was ever recorded in the company. All of them, they are recorded here. And from here, we can click on the top right option, this bulk installments. If you see here, the first thing is the installment date. So today's date is showing here. Whatever date you want to select, you select that date, and accordingly those transactions, they will be posted on that date. The next thing is the income account. So as you know already, that when we were creating the visa agreements, we already selected the respective income accounts. So those income accounts are already there. But if there is any visa agreement for which income account is not selected, whatever income account you will select here, that account will automatically reflect in the transaction. So this is how it will go. So all the agreements that we have in our company, they are showing here. So we will just take the last agreement example. So this is the agreement which we created today. The total amount was 4,400. We have already deducted 2,000. The remaining amount must be 2,400, and the number of installments remaining, they are 4. So one installment is coming up to 600. So this is calculated automatically. You can decrease the amount. This is your choice. One thing more which you can notice here is we have reference ID, employee name, employee share, received amount, installment amount, and here we have current ledger balance. This is the current running balance of this person in the financial records. So in our case, this employee already has a minus 3071. So this employee already has a debit balance of 3071. If you put this installment, if you record this installment, this balance will become, this balance will exceed 4,000, and this will employee will go further into debit. So I don't think there is any logic in recording this employee's installment. So what I can do is I can simply skip this employee's installment. To skip, you can simply remove the, click on this delete option. So one thing important is, if you decide to, instead of skipping, you decide to make it a 0, then what will happen is installment number 3 will still go. If this employee has 4 remaining installments, you have used one more slot. But the amount is 0, so it means the next installment, it will automatically increase in the amount. But if you want to 0 installment, you can do that, or you can simply skip it. And whatever is remaining, you can simply hit the save button, and you can accordingly save your installments. So to summarize, to create a visa agreement, go to visas, click on the addition add button, fill in all the details, create the visa agreements. After creating, you want to record expenses. The first thing, you go to the settings and you create all the relevant visa expenses that you want to create. And then you can add your expenses one by one, and you can add your installments one by one. So for this employee, the remaining amount is zero, and that is why you cannot see. You can see that the add installment button is already disabled. And if you want to print a report of any employee's total visa expenses history, you can actually go to the print visa page, and here you can print out all of the details with the visa expense list and visa installment list. And yes, this is all about visa management. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions, you can either drop a comment or you can reach out to our customer service team. And see you next time. Thank you.